talking. Said, if you do not apologize to me and tell me you love me, I'm not gonna hang up this phone. Sure. And I hang up my phone. And I swear, maybe about an hour or two after, I picked up my phone. Nothing. Hello? Hello? What are you doing on my phone? I said. I told you I wasn't going to hang up this phone. I said, were you on this phone? Yes, I was. And I looked, no, this jackass was not on this phone all this. I said, no, I need to make a telephone. Not until you say you're sorry. And say you love me. You know what you have to say it. Okay, Christopher, I love you. Isn't that easy? You let me sit here, fall asleep, wake up, and all you had to do was to tell me you love me, and this would not have happened. Okay, Christopher, get off the phone. That's when you got off the phone.
Very thrilling, very comforting. It's a project that took a long time, and with everything that we do, when it's completed, we feel very good about it.
Absolutely. And why did you think it was important to tell a deeper story?
Because there were certain things about him that nobody knew. You know, there's always innuendos, rumors, accusations, assertions. So the best thing to do is to put them on screen so everyone can see and hear.
Absolutely.
And also to learn who Christopher Wallace is. The world knows who Biggie, Notorious Big is, but to learn the man, Christopher Wallace.
Absolutely. And why is it important that, people see this? I mean, why do people need to know Biggie as Christopher and not just as Big?
Well, that's not the point. I don't think they want to know him as Biggie. They knew Biggie all along. I don't want him to know Christopher, but I want him to feel, to search, to dissect, maybe see what his life was. Because, like I said, there were so many assertions, so many stories that was never told, so many things that, was never heard. And I think it was only fair for it to be told. And I think the time is now.
It's Coffee on the Vid, and I'm a little late on this, y'all. Do you guys see the sad, tragic news? Valletta Wallace, as you seen her at the premiere of the Biggie movie Notorious, you heard her how she wanted to make it more personal, get the people familiar with Christopher, right? Christopher Wallace rather than Biggie. And if you recall, man, I don't want to say was heated, but definitely, did you guys ever see that footage that's out there where she let it be known about, Christmas missed us and, the hardships of life, that Biggie was more just telling a story, as, the two legends always get compared, Biggie and Pac, no question. And, it's sad. Biggie and his mom deceased, Pac, Afeni Shakur, both deceased, and neither of them ever got answers while they were here in the flesh. In spirit, if you believe in that, Afeni Shakur may indeed see what's going on now. You know what I mean? With Keefe D being charged, it's a sad situation. Stay tuned at the end of this. I got some footage I want to share with y'all, some power footage of them coming together, powerful footage. And then, there was that other clip where she was speaking about Big on the phone and all that. And it was clear, obviously, that they had a very strong bond as she passed away in the house, I believe, he bought for her. But I'm going to share a little clip with you guys and come back with some more commentary. R.I.P.
Valletta Wallace, the mother of the Brooklyn rapper The Notorious B.I.G., whose stewardship of her son's career and of his legacy after he was killed in 1997 helped cement him as a hip-hop legend, died on Friday. She was 78. Her death and hospice care at her residence in Stroudsburg, PA, was confirmed by the Monroe County coroner Thomas Yanak. No cause was specified. A middle-class immigrant and single mother from Jamaica, Ms. Wallace was forced into the hip-hop spotlight after the Notorious B.I.G., born Christopher Wallace and also known as Biggie Smalls, was killed at 24 in a Los Angeles drive-by shooting. His death came just 6 months after the Las Vegas slaying of the rapper Tupac Shakur, a one-time friend turned bitter rival. The killings abruptly ended a formative and fruitful moment in mainstream gangster rap amid a tangled East Coast-West Coast beef that went far beyond music. For decades, both cases remained unsolved, fueling an ecosystem of true crime books, documentaries, articles, and more that have tried to explain the possible links between the two killings, including the involvement of national gangs and crooked cops. In 2023, prosecutors in Las Vegas charged Dwayne Keith Davis, a former gang leader known as Keefy D, with murder in the Shakur case. He is set to stand trial this year. Ms. Wallace, a preschool teacher, took on the mantle of her son's career almost immediately. Biggie's second album, Life After Death, came out 2 weeks after he died. 6 months later, Ms. Wallace accepted the MTV Video Music Award for Best Rap Video, Hypnotize, telling the New York crowd, "I know if my son was here tonight, the first thing he would have done is say big up to Brooklyn." 2 years later, she appeared alongside Afeni Shakur, Tupac's mother, at the same awards show, urging unity in the preservation of their sons' legacies. Ms. Wallace would go on to work with other mothers of musicians who died young through her Christopher Wallace Memorial Foundation and its BIG Books Instead of Guns Night Out. "All I want to do is put a book into a child's hand, because books do not kill," Ms. Wallace said in 2003. "Books do not murder, but weapons do." In 2002, Ms. Wallace and her son's widow, the singer Faith Evans, filed a wrongful death suit against the city of Los Angeles, accusing the Los Angeles Police Department of covering up police involvement in the killing. A 2005 trial ended in a mistrial, with a judge ruling that the police had intentionally withheld evidence and ordering the city to pay the estate's legal fees. An amended version of the suit filed by Biggie's estate in 2007 estimated financial losses at $500 million. The case was dismissed in 2010 to avoid interfering with what the estate called a reinvigorated criminal investigation. The family only wanted justice to be done, a lawyer for the estate said at the time. Despite the lack of closure in the case, Ms. Wallace continued to spread the Notorious B.I.G.'s story across popular culture. She was credited as a producer and played by Angela Bassett as a saint with a powerful tongue, as one review put it, in the 2009 biopic Notorious, even coaching the actor Jamal Woolard, who played her son. "I felt like I sometimes intimidated him during the film," Ms. Wallace said. "I felt bad for that, but as a producer, my job is to be there." In a 2021 documentary, Biggie, I Got a Story to Tell, Ms. Wallace recalled her musical influence on her once shy son from their days in the Bedford-Stuyvesant section of Brooklyn, where he was exposed to a mix of reggae, jazz, and her personal favorite, country music. "Ever since I was a little girl, I liked stories," Ms. Wallace said. "When he was a little boy and was growing up, I always had the radio on and tuned in to the country music station. I love my Willie Nelson, Chris Christopherson, and Waylon Jennings. He listened to it all with me because he had no other choice." Ms. Wallace was born in a small town in the Trelawney Parish region of eastern Jamaica. Her date of birth is widely reported as February 3, 1953, but the coroner's report says her age was 78. Her father was a farmer and butcher. Her mother raised her and her 8 siblings. As a young woman, Ms. Wallace traveled to the United States to visit a friend and then stayed. After about a year, she began a relationship with a welder named George Latour, the Notorious B.I.G.'s father. She told XXL magazine that she decided after her son's birth to devote herself to him rather than have other children or marry. Her survivors include Notorious B.I.G.'s 2 children, Christopher Jordan and Tiana Wallace. For years, Ms. Wallace was a reliable presence alongside the music executive Sean Combs, known as Puff Daddy or Diddy, who helped discover Biggie and who also shepherded his legacy after his death. But she was unequivocal last year, as Mr. Combs was accused of widespread sexual abuse and indicted on federal racketeering and sex trafficking charges. "I hope that I see Sean one day, and the only thing I want to do is slap the daylights out of him. And you can quote me on that," Ms. Wallace told Rolling Stone, "because I liked him. I didn't want to believe all the awful things, but I'm so ashamed and embarrassed."
So speaking of that movie, right, that scene you heard in there on that clip, right, about the country music, there's a funny ass scene where Biggie was pointing out the album covers, like, "Ma, what the fuck is this?" You know what I mean? I think it was John Denver, was it Garth Brooks? I don't know, man, but it was a funny scene. And again, she was an educator, right, retired preschool teacher, and we heard about Big's father in that clip. I never knew a welder, right? A welder and a school teacher brought the world Biggie. And, you know, obviously through the movie, and as you heard in that clip there, Big's pops was out the picture, and this woman was so full of love, did the unselfish thing and forgot about her and worried about her son, man. And that's a beautiful thing. You know what I'm saying? As a parent, that's the righteous thing to do, put her child first. And you see, she never really wanted this limelight or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, the public got well acquainted with her because of the death of Biggie. You know, you heard about her accepting the award for Hypnotize, and, you know, the whole big up to Brooklyn. What an iconic moment that was. And it's reported she did a very good job being in charge of Big's estate, that at the time she took control of it, it was $10 million and now worth $160 million. I don't know if it will go to Big's kids, his daughter and son. Of course, we know the son does music. I don't know if the daughter does, but isn't it so crazy, man? Like, Big Pun's son is dope. Biggie's son, from what I've heard, is pretty dope. I don't know, like, they don't get in the game at all. They don't really, haven't blown up or anything like that. Tap in and comment and let me know why you think that is, as well as your thoughts about Voletta Wallace passing away, her legacy. And, you know, like I said, that they didn't get answers. You know what I'm saying? We heard about, and I'm sure you guys were well aware, or if you weren't, what were your thoughts on the wrongful death suit against the city of Los Angeles, with it ending conflicted, you know what I mean, where there was word that, you know, a confirmation by the court that there was some shady business by the police, but ultimately, you know, they paid the legal fees is all that was ordered, you know what I mean? But I highly doubt she did it for the money, you know what I mean? She did it probably to get answers and for the truth to be put out there, and it like halfway was. And there's so many theories and everything with Big's death. Comment what you believe about it all. You know, there's that Poochie dude, and then there's a lot of conspiracies and stuff like that. And, you know, Russell Poole, who is deceased as well, a lot of people have, you know, over the years put it out there that he was a crackpot conspiracy theorist that let the job get the best of him. And, you know, he wrote books and did documentaries and stuff like that. But surprisingly, you know, I've seen them together and they seem to have a good relationship and rapport together, Voletta and Russell Poole, who are now both deceased. But 78 is a long life, as you know, passing away with hospice, and it being reported that she had been sick for quite some time. Anyone, if you've had a loved one on hospice or you're familiar with it, you know what I'm saying? It's the idea to pass away at home on your own terms, comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not getting any more treatment. Just give me some pain meds so I can be comfortable and, you know, take care of me, keep me comfortable, let my loved ones be around me, and let me perish at home rather than behind the walls of a hospital or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? But it is pretty interesting indeed that with it being reported she had been sick for quite some time. You know what I mean? I'm sure the media reached out to her all the time. As, again, stay tuned. We got a clip. We're about to close this video out. You know, a very powerful moment. Everyone subscribe, join the discussion if you're new, hit the buttons and all that. R.I.P. Voletta Wallace, Afeni Shakur, Biggie, Pac. But yeah, man, even with her condition and all that, and again, you know, the media, I'm sure, probably tapped in with her all the time, especially with everything that's been going on as of late over the past couple years. She did make it a point to make that statement about Diddy. You know what I mean? That she would like to slap the fluck out of him. And that's a good, loving Christian woman, school teacher woman. And she still had a response like that. You know what I mean? It seems like she saw that he was full of ish at the end of the day. You know what I mean? But here's that clip. R.I.P.
It is my great pleasure to present the women who made an enormous contribution to the world of rap and hip-hop. Please welcome the mothers of Biggie Smalls and Tupac Shakur, Afeni Shakur, and Voletta Wallace.
famous Shakur.
And I'm Valletta Wallace.
In keeping with both our sons' memories and contributions to the arts, we stand united as mothers preserving their legacies.
The fact that we are even standing here show what the power of faith, friends, family, loved ones, and fans can do to bring us all closer.
The memory of our sons, Tupac and Biggie, should continue to inspire us and unite us and inspire children around the world to overcome obstacles to achieve their goals.
In essence, music can enhance our chances to hold us together, help us to reach others, cross language barriers and color lines, thus giving us hope for the next millennium.
about this or hear this, that you used to go up on Mulholland Drive and park
every night
and visualize seeing yourself as...
Yeah, I would visualize,
This is when you were broken poor.
You know, right, having directors interested in me and people that I respected saying, you know, I like your work or whatever that is, and I would visualize things coming to me that I wanted or whatever. Drive home and think, think, well, I do have these things. They're out there. I just don't have a hold of them yet, but they're out there. I wrote myself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered, and I gave myself 5 years, or 3 years maybe, and I dated it Thanksgiving 1995. Just before Thanksgiving 1995, I found out that I was going to make